and wedding celebrant Amanda Lutfi.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Just As Planned TV show and podcast. My name is Amanda Lutfi. I'm one of your hosts for season 3. And today I'm joined by Renee from Renee Marie Photography. Renee is a talented creative with a passion for poetic storytelling through photography. She has been capturing love stories for almost 5 years. Welcome to the show, Renee. I'm delighted you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. So, look, Renee, as a celebrant, and I think I've mentioned this to you before, I always look at the photographers when they turn up to the weddings as the cool kids on the block. Like, you guys turn up, you're dressed in creative type outfits, you've got comfy shoes on, unlike myself. You look really cool. You've got your multiple cameras and your harness and your stuff, and I'm always like, oh my God, I want to be them. But yeah, it just seems you get in there, you seamlessly capture all the special moments. And yeah, most photographers I've ever worked with make it look really easy. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure there's a lot that's going into this. But it's not often we get a photographer in front of the camera. So I'm really delighted that you're here. So thank you. And I'm pumped to learn more about, I suppose, the art of storytelling photography, what it is you do, and yeah, just photography in general. So let's start with you and your career. So the question is, did you choose photography or did photography choose you? How did you get into this?
I feel like photography kind of chose me. I actually started doing more family work, and I did family films, which I don't know if you've ever heard of, but I came across this woman. Her name's Courtney Holmes, and I came across something on Instagram probably, and she was talking about documenting families as they are, living the everyday and like making magic with that. And so it sounds very strange, but I felt like almost like this, like fire, like just warmth, like just overwhelming desire, like you should do this. And so I started doing that. And so I was doing family photos and family films. And then I got asked to do a wedding. And that was actually a wedding video because I was doing the film and the photo of families. And so I started actually doing wedding films. Went to my first wedding, loved it. And then I started doing photos, like wedding photos as well. And then I decided that was really where like my passion was through capturing like weddings through photography more so than films. Whilst I love film, it's a lot of work on the back end to sort of be putting them together. I just found like creatively, like I just was more drawn to photography. So now I'm just doing photos and loving it.
Here you are.
Here I am.
And look, your website says timeless and editorial wedding photography. I wanted to ask you, tell me about your style. Like, what does it mean when you say editorial? Does that mean like magazine style?
Well, it's like I like to bring like an editorial like flair to my photography. So I still want it to feel like you. So with my couples, like I still want them to look at their photos and see themselves. I guess it's more my eye, the way I see it. So the editorial is like very much like capturing things in between moments and as they're happening, like more that documentary sort of vibe. And just like the little details. And then in terms of, because I don't want it to ever feel like a magazine shoot or anything like that, because it's not a photo shoot. It is your wedding. But it's more just that little bit of like, just that editorial flair that I add to it. But by no means does that mean that I'm posing you like you're on a photo shoot or anything like that. So
yeah. No, I love that. And what does it mean when you say storytelling photography?
So storytelling is along those same lines. So I want to document the whole day from start to finish. So like when I arrive on a weekday, I want to get there a bit earlier, and I want to, like, I call them my establishing shots. So I want to take photos of where you're getting ready and all the happenings that are going on there. I want to take photos of the venue. If it's raining, if it, like, I want to be able to catch that in your photos. So it's the whole scene. It's kind of like, if you think of it kind of like a movie, like I'm trying to show all the different parts of the day, everything that's going on. So that when you look back at it, you can really feel how the wedding day felt, if that makes sense. So, like, for example, like, you know, when I did video, so you could always, like, if you're filming and it's raining, you can see that it's raining, or if it's windy, you can see that it's windy because everything's moving in the video. So with photos, I try to still document it in that way. So like I use different shooting techniques to make it so that it feels that way and you can see it. And so you going back in that time, when you look at them, you go back in time and you feel it, not so much as looking at a still perfect image. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then, like, as I said, like, I like to get on my establishing shots, but then also I like to be there for prep because that's part of the story. So if you're thinking of like your wedding's like a movie, like that's part of it there. That's, you're getting ready, the groom getting ready, the bride getting ready, putting on your jewelry, like shooting all the little details together for the day, and being able to look at that at the end and see it play by play just ties it all together.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's beautiful. So who are your ideal couples? Like, what's your main goal for your couples, and how do couples work out whether you're the photographer for them or any photographer is the photographer for them? Sorry, that's about 20 questions in one.
Okay, well, how do I start? So, I guess my ideal couple is really it's anyone that really gels with me and trusts me to capture their day. That's just, look, I guess they find my work, they are connected to my work, and then when we meet, they're connected to me. And then from there, they're able to just trust me to document their day as I see it. And as I feel that then it will be, you know, that they will then, like, and capturing moments, I think that they will love to see things that they didn't see on the day because they were busy off, you know, mingling with people, but I'm capturing these little moments to help them, you know, look back on their day like, oh yeah, that happened. Oh, I didn't see that. And so they're my ideal couples. I guess it's not really a specific type of person or even a type of wedding. It's the couple themselves. If they're drawn to my work and then they're drawn to me, then they're my ideal couple. And I feel like that's with any photographer. So when a couple's looking at a photographer, I feel like that's a journey that all of them should go through. Is they love the work, and so that's, you know, tick, I'm happy with the work. And then when they meet the actual photographer, they gel with them and they can see spending their entire day with them. As you know, like, so photographers, we're there from, you know, morning till right through till the end of the night. So they spend like the entire day with us, and so they have to be talking to me a lot. So I'm hoping that you like me because I'm going to be around. So I think as long as it's why it's so important to gel with your photographer, because as well as it's going to really impact your entire experience of your day. So you may find a photographer that does incredible work, but then when you meet them, if you don't gel, then that's going to carry through your entire wedding day, you know. So you're going to be comfortable and you won't enjoy your day, and that's ultimately what it is. It's your wedding day. You're supposed to be enjoying it, and your photographer should be there just documenting it.
Yeah, you said a few things which I just totally, you know, your photographer is the one wedding vendor, wedding supplier who is with you all day from where to go. So you need to connect, don't you? And also you want someone you feel comfortable with and that you can trust, because you haven't got time on your wedding day to be worrying about all of that stuff. Like, there's so much. So with that in mind, talk about a day in the life of a photographer. So it's wedding day. You know, how important is it to have a timeline and to stick to it? Tell me about that.
So timelines, I could talk about timelines all day. So timelines are so important, and I feel like it can feel like a timeline is restrictive because you're setting times when things need to be done, but it doesn't have to be. If you set a timeline before the day and you leave a lot of space, so we allow time for all the different things that we've, all this time for prep, and then we've got, first look with dad, and then we've worked out, when we want to be doing our portraits during, often during golden hour, because it's when we're going to get the beautiful light, and it's just, that's like prime time for capturing beautiful portraits. And then we work back, hey, this is when the ceremony is going to be, but we'd also like some mingling time here. So we work back. And so we have the ceremony earlier. We allow for for family portraits, and then allow for all this beautiful time to mingle with all your guests before we go off to do your bridal portraits. So when you have a great timeline that has, and it allows for things to run behind, even if you've just got all of this space in there, it means that if the wedding doesn't start, until 15 minutes later than what it's supposed to, that's okay, because we've got time. But when it's really tight, that makes it super rigid. And that's when things have to run exactly to time. Otherwise, you do fall behind and you do lose light and you don't get the beautiful portraits that you are hoping for. So for me, once we've got a beautiful timeline all set, then on the day, it's beautiful. I just flow in, I come and say hello. We just ease into the day. I can shoot your details and just your final, then those final moments of getting ready and popping your dress on. And it's all got a nice flow to it, and there's no rushing. I can be creative then because we've allowed time for me to be creative. So we're not sort of all rushing to get to the next thing. So once that timeline is in place, it just lets everything else flow beautifully. If I've got to travel between, groom prep and bride prep, we've got time. There's no rush. And I think that sets the tone for the whole day, because we're all just calmly moving through the day, and because there's already so many nerves going on. So if we can have the more time, the less nerves. The less time, the more nerves.
100%. Yeah, that's so true. And do your couples give you a list of, like, just so they've got family photos they want to capture? Are they giving you a list of, I want Auntie Jan and Uncle Jack and, all that?
I on it. So only because that way, when we get to family portraits, we've got a list. We know exactly who's in every grouping. Often I'll ask the couple if they've got like a family member from each side that knows everyone, that can then like gather everyone, so everyone's ready to go. And so then we can just like fire off through that list and get everyone captured. No one's forgotten. That's the other thing, because if you don't have a list, it's tricky on the day to think, oh, did we get that photo with my auntie, or did we do that? I'm not sure. I can't remember. So if you've got that list, it just helps that time to flow a lot quicker, and then everyone can get to the fun part and enjoying, canapes and all that time. So
yeah, and I think really, when we're thinking about lighting and wanting to capture that golden hour, which the golden hour, am I right in saying it's the hour before sunset? Is that the best lighting?
Yeah. Yes, because the sun has gone down enough that it's close enough to the horizon that it's then flattering soft light, and it's not that harsh directional light down above you. So yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. So really, when you're thinking about your ceremony time and your reception begin time, you really need to be liaising with your photographer and saying, these are all the things I've got. I don't know, maybe you've got a lot of family that you need to get in for family portraits, or maybe you don't have many family. So, but you've got to kind of work backwards, don't you? And that'll set where your ceremony is. Because I know in winter, we often have ceremonies a lot earlier for that reason. Is that that's right from a photographer point of view?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. It's, I mean, if you're working with a great planner, they'll know this. But I know a lot of couples don't always have a planner. And so if you don't, definitely talk to your photographer about when is the best time to be doing portraits. Okay, we want to be shooting, it's from 5 till 6. That's when we want to do portraits. Great. Okay, so then let's work back from there, working out how long is the ceremony going to go for? How many family photo combinations do you have? Do you want to have some mingling time with your guests before going off to do your photos, or did you just want to go straight through? Sort of having that forethought makes so much difference on the day. And then like allowing that little bit of extra buffer time between your ceremony and when we have to go off to photos is so good. Like it just means you can relax and enjoy your day. And it doesn't, because like the last thing you want is for your wedding to feel like this big production, and it's, you know, you want to enjoy it. Like you're actually marrying your person and you want to be like just in that bubble and enjoying it with all of your people. So let's make a timeline that focuses on that, you know, and that way we can still get all of our beautiful photos, but we can do it in a way where we're not like, you know, running to get to the, you know, rushing, losing light.
And I think, you know, I did a wedding last week where they had a morning wedding, and wow, it just felt so relaxed because we weren't rushing a time, you know, trying to get in before sunset kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's revolutionary. I think we need more morning weddings. It was fabulous.
Yes, well, and you know, like what you're saying there, you can still do that with an afternoon wedding, but you just bringing it forward that little bit. So start your wedding a little bit earlier, so there is time. You know, like I think we were discussing earlier, like thinking a bit outside the box, not always having to set to the traditional flow of how everything has to run. Like it doesn't have to be that way. You can do things like, you know, out of order, like out of sync a little bit. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think, you know, we touched on this when we had a chat before. So, and I'd love to bring this up for our listeners. You were talking about in America and the way that they kind of time things and first looks and couple portraits and things. Tell us about that, because that's really interesting.
Yeah. So it's very common in the States that the couple will have a first look. So bride and groom will do a first look, and then often they'll do like family photos and their bridal party photos before the ceremony. So they'll do those photos then. So all of more of those formal portraits and things are already done. And so then, and it's also like that first look between the couple is like, it's such a beautiful, like a special little time that they get to have where it's just them and it's quiet and calm. And it's just, yeah, that like kind of that nice moment, like, oh my God, we're doing this, you know, and they get to just have that special moment together before like everybody else is there. That's really lovely. And I have done a few here where we've had like a first look. And it certainly doesn't take away from like, you know, the bride walking down the aisle in that moment, because then, you know, it's another special thing to have all of your special people that you've invited to share in this day with you. They're all there supporting you as well. And that's like a whole nother level of emotion as well. So it's still super special. You know, it doesn't take away from it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, and so then you've got more time after the ceremony for like mingling. Sometimes they'll even go into reception earlier, and then you might go out to do just bride and groom photos at golden hour. So you'll go and have some and it'll only be a shorter time, but you'll just duck out, do those photos, and then come back. So it can
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's just mixing it up, and it's okay to do things a little bit differently. But yeah, like I said, in the States, that's quite often
That's kind of commonplace. Yeah, and I love that. And then so tell me, so as a photographer on a wedding day, you're there all day, as we've established. When do you start editing, and how long does this whole editing process take? Because I always, like, I come home as a celebrant and I need to register the marriage and do everything, do my follow-up, but it's certainly it's not like editing photos, because I imagine you've taken hundreds and hundreds of photos that day.
Thousands.
Where do you even start? How long does it take? Are you talking a day? Are you talking 3 days? What's this look like?
Definitely longer than a day. So when I come home from a wedding, so I've got, obviously I'm shooting, like generally I'm shooting 2 cameras all day. So I'll come home and I'll back those up straight away. So I've got all of my clients' beautiful, very precious memories all safely backed up. And then from there, I give my couple sneak peeks within like a couple of days after their wedding. I like to give them, depends on what, generally about anywhere from 10 to 40 preview images, just so that they've got those to be looking at whilst I'm editing the rest of their gallery.
Yeah.
So I get that done within the next couple of days. And then from there, I have to cull. So I would say on average, with like an 8-hour wedding, I would come away with about 3,000 photos.
Wow.
Which, believe it or not, is not as much. I have worked with photographers, and this one in particular, he comes away with like 10,000 photos. I'm like, oh my God, like how are you like, that is insane. But anyhow,
Wow.
I don't even know. Like, how do you even cull that amount of photos? That is like
Oh my
insane.
God.
But so then it's the culling through, trying to like bring that down. So my ultimate deliverable is between about 800 to 1,000 photos. And I like to deliver quality, like quality over quantity. So
Yeah.
instead of having, 10 photos that are essentially the same, I want you to have one or two like really strong photos from that set of photos that really capture that moment,
Yeah.
and doesn't like water it down when you've just got like 10 of the same photo sort of thing. And that's part of my storytelling as well, because I want each image to be a strong image.
Yes.
Yeah. So then that's also, I mean, it's so hard to quantify exactly how long it takes. So my
Yeah.
gallery is delivered in 8 weeks. So it's definitely less than 8 weeks. But like in that time, by the time I cull and then I edit, and then even after I've edited it, I'll often like almost cull again to really just pull together their gallery so it shows their story in a beautiful way. So
Yes.
and then from there, I create like a little slideshow that has all of their highlight images in there. So it's just a nice way to get like a start to finish of the day. Going to be music and the photos, and it's a nice thing that they can share with family that don't want to look through 800 photos.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Wow.
So then there's that. And so I reckon I would spend, anywhere up to 2 to 3 weeks, I reckon, really curating a gallery once I set, like, if you like, just,
Yeah.
stop buying that time, but because I just want it to be just perfect. So I want it to, so that's all goes into it after the day. And so,
Yes.
yeah. And that's why I try and shoot in that way on the day. Like, I'm always shooting with that storytelling mindset. So I'm thinking of what their final gallery will look like. So how all of these little intricate details that I'm shooting are going to help tie together their whole gallery. That makes sense.
For
So
sure.
it all comes together.
So what's your favorite part of a wedding day to shoot? Is there a favorite, or do you love all of it?
I do love, I mean, it's hard. I have different parts of, I do love capturing details. It's one of my favorite things. Like, I love capturing all their special little things. And I like capturing the ceremony styling and the reception styling. I do love that. I love couple portraits when it's just the two of them. So often when I'm shooting, I'll do all of their bridal party portraits first, and then I'll send the bridal party away, and we'll just keep the couple, just the two of them, which is to help them feel more comfortable and not like there's an audience.
Yeah.
And I do like those moments, particularly when I have a couple that just genuinely are just so into each other, and it's so beautiful to capture that. So I do love that as well.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And look, lots of couples, I know from a celebrant point of view, are quite shy about the thing that worries them about their wedding day is standing up in front of everyone and then having to speak and do vows, and that kind of thing can be quite stressful. I am imagining most couples then translate that to photos. Are most couples nervous about it? Like, how do you relax them? What does that look like?
So every single couple is nervous in my experience, or at least feel like, oh, I'm a little bit awkward in front of the camera. I don't really know what to do. And look, I appreciate that, because I know when I, as a photographer, on the other side of the camera, I can sometimes be like, oh, okay, what am I doing over here? Like
Yeah.
I do appreciate, I do understand. So like, as I said, so there's a few things we can do. So prior to the day, we can do an engagement shoot,
Mm,
or even just a pre-wedding shoot, which takes a lot of those nerves away because we've worked together. So I've already taken your portraits, so you already know what it's going to be like on the day. So it's kind of like just a practice run. So I find
mm,
that really helps, and it helps to build that connection between me and my couple as well. So there's one option. During the day, like I said, once we've done bridal portraits, I send them away, so that it's just me and you two. So then there's no more distractions. There's no bridal party calling out, oh, good on you. Like, just making these inappropriate comments that are like really embarrassing and you're already feeling a bit nervous. So like they think they're being helpful, but
yeah.
it's not helpful.
This is not helping people go away and have a drink.
That is not, that's the thing. And often they have had a few drinks and so they think, this is the right thing to say, but really I'm like,
Hilarious. I love it.
yeah. And so then having that time, going back to the timeline. So once we've got that beautiful time that we've allocated, then I normally just get them to have a quiet moment together. So I'll back right off.
Mm,
And so they can just have a minute. And I'm still taking photos during this time, but I'm like over here taking photos, not like right here taking photos, sort of thing. So I
yeah.
allow them to have time just to take a minute, just, take in what's just happened. And then we'll ease into it. Like it's very like, let's go for a walk. I want you just to come in and I just want you to hold one another. Like it's nothing, like all of my prompts are very natural. I never get my couple
Mm,
drinking that feels like icky. And even if I'm thinking of like something like, oh, it'd be cool if we could do like a big like lift over here, like you could lift up and twirl around or whatever. Um, if they're like, oh no, I don't forgot, no worries. Like if I ask them to do something and they're like really awkward about it, like they're like, oh, I'm like, okay, no worries. Like there's never
yeah.
any pressure to do anything. Um,
Mm,
and even then, like, yeah, like I said, like it's my direction is so minimal and it's only ever, I think of it more of like guidance than like set
yeah.
pieces. Because I think when a couple comes into it, like I was saying to you earlier, like they look at different images like on Pinterest and they get all in their head about these perfect images. And the more they get in their head about trying to create these perfect images, the more it's like overwhelming.
Yes.
Uh, so I
Yes.
think that's like a big tip is just don't look at those images and think I need to look like that because you need
Yes.
to look like you. You need to just be with your person and I'll capture it
Mm,
beautifully as you are. And I say that to them as well, like there's no right or wrong. Whatever you're doing is exactly right. And I say to them, the more like I always say, never wait for me to ask you to touch, hug, kiss your partner. Just do it. Like
yeah.
just never ever wait. You don't need my permission. The more you want to be close and intimate with your partner, please do it. And if I'm not saying
Yeah.
anything, it's because what you're doing is amazing. So just I guess letting go of that idea of perfection and just knowing that
Mm,
you and your love is perfect and it doesn't need to look like someone else's, I guess.
yeah. And like you said at the beginning, this isn't a magazine shoot. It's real life. It's your wedding day.
Right.
Yeah, I say the same thing about the ceremony. It's not a performance. Like, we're going to roll with whatever comes up and whatever happens. And yeah, and
Yeah.
it'll be perfect because it's you. And at the end of the day, you're married. So yeah. Oh my God, you
That's
make me want to go and get wedding photos again. This is exciting. So tell me, what are you seeing in terms of trends? Like what's going on in 2024? Is there anything different or are we kind of just what's changed? Anything changed?
I think there's always things changing. I feel like there's always these trends coming through. I'm seeing a lot of bows everywhere at the moment. Lots of big bows. I think those. I think there's lots like I'm liking a lot of these little. I don't know if it's a new trend, but things that I'm starting to see is I'm liking when they have like a dress change, like they have like their main like,
Yes.
and then they're chopping like changing into like a short little cocktail version for nighttime. I'm loving that. I think that's just really fun.
Why have one wedding dress when you can have two is my theory. Like, this is brilliant.
That's right. Let's have two. That's exactly right. I feel like in terms of photography, people are really, I think people are loving like film photography. That's becoming like super popular. They're wanting to have film photos. And but I don't know. I try not to like I try not to get too caught up in like trends. Like I would
Yeah.
rather just keep it, like I said, like more timeless. So I'm like
Yeah.
totally for it. Like if my couple wants to do a trend, no worries, let's do it. But otherwise, like I just kind of want to keep it pretty just simple. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like let's just, because then I think as well, if you like with the couple, if they're trying to keep up with trends, like you can very easily like lose sight of why it is you're doing what you're doing. And then if you're just trying to like, I want my wedding to look this way because it's like on trend, and if it doesn't look that way, then you're disappointed. You know,
And
like
also, I think it can date, can't it? It can date really easily. You want something, as you said, timeless. You want to look back in these photos in 20 years and go, oh my God, these are brilliant. Like this.
yeah.
I remember how I felt when we were having these photos done or on my wedding day. It's
Yeah, and I think like by all means, like it's like a nice balance. Like you might be like, oh, I love having those big bows they're having everywhere. I love how these beautiful. They've got all these beautiful cocktail glasses, little bows on them, and things like that's cool. Let's totally do that. But when it comes to your fit, like I think for styling, there's lots of those trends as well.
yeah.
And but then when it comes to your photography, well, for me anyway, I think that's the difference. Like when you have clients coming to you, like they're coming to me because they want something that isn't going to age a lot, like it is going to be timeless. Or then I guess if you've got clients that are really like they really are focused on trends, maybe they're looking for the photographer that is always like changing and they are really on point with all the trends, and they're doing like I've seen some photographers doing things where they do, I believe it's called like a Dutch angle, and it's kind of like I don't know, it's like just like the couple's kind of on an angle, the way that they take the photo,
Yeah,
it
right.
sort of has them walking and the horizons aren't straight. I can't do that. Don't ask me to do it. Like, it kills me. I'm like, no. I'm like, I need it, my horizon, everything. I need it to be straight. I can't do it from that angle. And like,
Yeah.
I mean, traditionally when people do that, like in from a like a movie perspective, like that's to create like this unease in the like the feeling, and I'm like, I don't want to create an unease feeling in my photography. Like I want it to feel great. But anyway, my point is this, like those sorts of things that come through, but I try not to like, well, it just doesn't appeal to me because I want it to feel timeless and that sort of thing. And when it comes to film photography, like that's not something that I offer at the moment, but then like a lot of my editing style, like I do tend to lean towards like I use like a lot of grain, and I create those kind of film nostalgic sort of like vibes in my photography as well. So I kind of don't feel like I need to be offering it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so interesting, isn't it? Every I just the talent and the creativity that goes into what you do every day is incredible. And obviously you're running your own small business as well. So there's all that other stuff that goes with it, the marketing, the finance,
Right.
yeah, it is it's crazy. It is crazy, isn't it? But yeah, you wouldn't do it if you didn't love it, really.
That's right. You would not. I swear you would not. Like there are easier ways to make money. Like, do you know what I mean?
100%. I get it. So look, Renee, you are based in like Toowoomba in Queensland or up that way, but do you do weddings everywhere? I think I've seen you in the Scenic Rim. I think I've seen you. Where can you go anywhere?
I can go anywhere. I think a lot of my work is based here because I am based here. But yeah, I go all through Scenic Rim. I've done up to the Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast. I have a wedding later this year, actually, just in like sort of northern New South Wales down there.
Brilliant.
So yeah, no, I'm always happy and always inspired if it's like this a beautiful new venue. I'm like, oh, I'll go check it out. So
yeah, 100%.
Always happy to, and of course, if the couple and I just click as well. So because that's much for me as it is for them. Like I want to click with the couples that I work with as well. So
Yeah, 100%. No, I love that. Thank you so much for joining me. Look, people can find you obviously on socials. So reneemarie.co, is that right?
So
That's
on
your website.
yep, that's my website. Yeah.
And Renee Marie Photo is your Insta and Facebook.
Yeah, I think Facebook is actually Renee Marie Photography because I couldn't get photo, but Instagram is where I'm
They'd find you.
predominantly at. Find me on Instagram. Don't bother going to Facebook.
Yeah. Okay, find you on Instagram. Your website's great, so have a look at your website. Awesome. Amazing. Thank you so much for joining me. This has actually been really insightful. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure our couples will. And I think, speaking on behalf of all photographers, it's interesting just to see how much goes into what you do on a wedding day. It's huge. It's huge, your job. So thank you so much.
Yeah, sometimes we share the role of what a planner would provide on the day because we're supposed to move things through, but yeah.
100% you do. Yeah. It's setting the timeline, all of that stuff. It's so important. But look, thank you. It's been really insightful, and I look forward to seeing you soon. We've got a wedding together soon, which I'm very excited about.
We do very soon, like weeks away.
I know. Fabulous. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
And see you, everyone. I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Justice Plan Weddings podcast. Please like and subscribe to let us know that you want more videos just like this one. And of course, please follow us on our socials at Justice Planned Wedding on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more expert insights to help your wedding go Justice Planned.